Thank you, Jason, and good afternoon, everybody. And I think, as John Parrott said at the top of the show, look out for some fireworks. This was all the makings of a classic match. Not a lot to choose between them, Steve, but when you look at the records, in some of the longer matches, Judd seems to have just a slight edge.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Neil
First
Robertson.
frame, Judd trumped a break.
Yes, but it's been very tight. What's certain, though, is these two players have been regular features on our major tournaments in the final stages, so you'd expect them to be experienced enough to get off to a good start, not to be overawed by the occasion of the Masters.
Yes, the new breed. Packed house, great atmosphere. Both players, great potters. You're going to see some outstanding shots played today. Just playing the containing safety. Didn't catch it quite right though. So he may have left a pot for Judd here. Red just sticking out of the main cluster. Don't let him get through to it to the far right. Or this red to the corner and a little cannon on the red just to the right of the black. Not quite. Half a chance that was. And sometimes at this level, those half chances can make the difference between winning and losing a frame.
Not easy for Neil Robertson to play this loose red in the bottom half of the table and guarantee any path back to the top of the table. Could collide with brown or green, so and that red does pot into the middle pocket, even if it's an acute angle, so where Neil Robertson's left that, he's hoping that if Judd does get it, he can't get on the colour.
Somebody's earpiece is quite loud. Can you check them, please, and turn it down? Thank you.
Strange choice of shot, though, to leave an opportunity of this red.
Would have been better had he got it tight on the ball cushion.
Yeah. Okay, as we say, Steve, he wasn't guaranteed to be on a colour. He played it pretty well, but a surprising choice of shot from Neil. Where's the cue ball gone?
Judd trump 1, Neil Robertson 6.
Yeah, it's tough to get it in there past the yellow.
Oh, it's amazing. It must have sort of checked a bit off the first cushion, because normally, as you say, you'd think the yellow would be blocking the path. Don't think he can, well, maybe he can play it with just a trace aside to get to the potting angle.
You see that trademark alignment of Judd Trump, looking like he was aiming to missed the red to the top cushion to start with, and then readjusts and missed it to the side. It's tough way to play snooker, going across the line of the shot, but it works for him. Keep your eyes on how straight queuing Neil Robertson's is. That's an easier way to play, I feel.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone in the game pushes the cue through as straight as Neil. And that's why he's one of the best potters in the game. A bit careless that from Judd, and I think that might just be the slight difference between the two players. I think if it comes to a tactical battle, which I don't expect it to, but you just sort of slightly favour Neil Robertson.
If you're going to look at longevity within the game, I would say that Neil Robertson's straight queuing will hold him in better stead. Judd did come into the studio, John, after his first match, and was sort of saying that he wasn't particularly that confident at the moment.
Yes, it's been a long time between drinks in regards to winning events. He's taken a bit of a risk here.
Yeah, this looks like a gift. Not too sure what he was playing. Surely not that.
One.
The reds spread out a bit, but there's a lot of them, and not easy to guarantee position. Although if he was to open them up, he'd feel a bit aggrieved if he didn't get on something, and he'll settle for that.
8.
Just having a look, he's already looked past this red, and probably the black he'll run through for the black. Just looking what sort of angle he needs on the black. Well, he's stunning, so he may be playing for the pink here. Well, I decided to go back up for the blue, but with that red, having to avoid that second red, I don't see how he could have possibly got the right side of the blue.
No, it was tough, but he was loath to tie the pink up. Possibly, if he'd have just screwed back, he'd have left himself a
30.
possibly easier one than this. But as he's left-handed, makes this shot a lot easier.
Yeah, that's why I thought he'd play that red, just roll the blue in.
Well, he was only fractions away to snooker himself behind the blue, so it was a risk playing in and out of baulk off of such a straight blue. But I agree, Johnny, looks like he's all of a sudden
36.
settled his cueing down in what could be an all-important first frame. Especially as both
37.
players have looked a bit tense.
This blue and one more red to leave Neil Robertson needing snookers. This red will put him 39
42.
points in front with just 35 remaining. Bless you. Somebody sneezed just on the shot. But it didn't put him off,
43.
as you should do. When there's something distracts you, get up and go through your routine again. And Neil Robertson, Mr. Black off the spot. It's usually a costly thing to do at this level. And as Stephen I just remarked,
48.
he just seems to be getting that cue through nice and smooth now, does Judd Trump.
Judd Trump,
Well.
48.
2 snookers needed. You would think being the first frame, Neil Robertson will carry on.
Relatively nice little area behind black and pink at some stage. Not too sure he could get it from this shot, but he'd have to be tight behind one of them.
Yeah, my mistake. It's 3 snookers at the moment. 3 4-point snookers required.
More likely to need a free ball. Great shot.
Yeah. Because that object ball was so close to the cushion, he realised that by playing a bit of topspin it was going to check, and that's what it did. And he had right hand side on the cue ball. It couldn't have worked out better. All Judd's got to do here is be careful he doesn't leave a free ball. Oh, but good hit. Very good hit.
Neil Robertson won't be potting this red.
Just run past. We got the double, has he? He has. And that's the end of any thought of Neil Robertson getting the snookers now. He won't be coming back to the table in this first frame. A little bit of Judd's naughty snooker now. Didn't he cue that beautifully?
5.
Do you know, it's funny, the first couple of shots he played, Steve, I was thinking, well, maybe he's not
7.
quite on it today, but Neil Robertson missed that black off the spot, and it seems to have sort of invigorated Judd somewhat.
10.
I think that can happen. You can walk out, play a few rotten shots and feel rubbish, and then your opponent lets you off the hook, and you get a few nice starters under your
14.
belt, and the next minute you're a world beater.
Well, he's certainly entertaining the crowd with this little break.
The 7-cushion positional shot that was. Oh, fantastic. I like it.
Well, it's a pity, but in the end, as I say, it started up a bit scrappy, but then when Neil Robertson missed the black off the spot, he seemed to inspire Judd, and he flew away with it. He wins the first frame, 1-0.
Thank you. Frame 2. Neil Robertson to break.
Decent break-off shot there from Neil Robertson. May well have snookered Judd on all reds. And it's one of those packs with loose reds on either side of it. It's not straightforward just to come off the side cushion and nestle into them. Got to be a little bit careful here.
Good break-off as well, as it didn't tie the black up. Although that's not exactly easy to control. Bit of speculative play there from Judd. Getting the line, he'll have another couple of goes to get it right. But he'll be quite happy with that first attempt. It was quite close. Expecting to readjust for the second one.
The one thing, of course, you're wary of, particularly on the first attempt, is catching the red too thick. Well, he couldn't have played that better if he'd had the ball at this end. Well played. Very well played. Much too thick and very fortunate. Having caught the red that thick and got into the jaws. Very lucky not to leave a red on. Touching ball is a help to Judd. We'd rather had a pot at a red to go at. A little bit short of pace, but the yellows come in very handy. Looks like once again Judd snookered on all reds, but this time not too much of a problem to come off the left-hand side cushion, nestle into the reds below the pink. played it nice.
Touching ball.
I knew Robertson could risk trying to get tight in behind the yellow, but still going to be hard to force an opening. So arguably play a shot that gets Judd to open a few reds up. Can swerve round this yellow to catch the side of the pack, but that's a tough judgment shot. You could catch it too thick. So it's going up and down. That's risky as well. So well played.
Well, that was another terrific shot. To judge it so well. Coming off a cushion. Excellent. Now this red's going to be potable to the left corner, and kissing the yellow makes it that much easier. Judd, with his hand on the table, can manoeuvre the cue ball. Perfect.
Well, from such a thin cut to actually get a bit of screw back on there to hold the cue ball was superb. One of the strengths of Judd Trunt's game. Gets a lot of action on the cue ball.
6. Seven. Twelve. 13.
Coming down for the black. I can only assume that that red that's just above and to the right of the black spot will go into the opposite corner here. And of course, that's very handy for Judd. And of course,
20.
now he's got the black on its spot and available into both corners. This is an excellent opportunity.
21.
You always need a bit of luck when you go into them. I'm having a look at his body language. What's he on?
28.
Could just get through to that
29.
red. Had to play it with a trace of right-hand side just to turn the red over slightly. Played it well.
No need to go into the reds again
36.
from that shot. There was a little bit of danger involved in that.
37.
A little bit straighter on the blue would have been ideal. As Steve said, he didn't really need to have to play any more cannons. Okay, he's on this red, but it was all about
42.
precise positional play. If he'd have got that, he'd have put one red, it clears the path for another. But he landed on a red. This is a frame-winning opportunity, there's no doubt about that.
Well, we know Judd's not frightened of winning. And it would be an interesting scenario to have the player in form
49.
asked a few questions here at 2-0 down, should that be the case.
50.
He can't keep in form all season. Somewhere down the line the wheel's got to fall off. I suggest, John, he's got to get his B game going, as we say.
57.
Yeah, well, he's certainly capable of that. And when we say the B game, of course,
58.
that means he's a very good all-round player, but I don't think he's going to get much opportunity to do anything more in this frame.
$65.
So, red and the black, that's all that's needed.
66.
And amazingly enough, that's his highest break of the tournament so far. It's hard to believe with
73.
someone like Judd, a big scorer at the best of
74.
times. There's Judd's brother, Jack, and his girlfriend, Khadija. Judd's
81.
girlfriend. Don't get any ideas, Jack.
82.
Well, you'd be amazed if he didn't make the century here. But this has been excellent play from Judd.
88.
Was in trouble a couple of times, played 2 excellent escapes from snookers.
89.
Well, they both look wobbly at the start of this match, but Judd's
96.
now free of that.
Yeah, he's just having a look at the scoreboard. The highest break at the moment is held by Mark Allen at 137. Now he can better that. Well, he could have done
97.
if he'd have got pink or black. If he gets the blue, he can only equal the highest break. That's why he's playing the black. He's not bothered about the 100. He's trying to beat the 137. He's got it, you know. He's got it. But he'll need another good shot on this last red. Possible 139.
104.
Ah, what a pity.
Club, 104.
Well, he gave it his best shot, but he kept Neil Robertson in his seat for most of that frame. A couple of great escapes early on, and Judd Trump marches on 2-0.
You're also wondering what those 2 pieces of cotton hanging from the shorts are, aren't you, as well? Yeah, okay, fair enough. Well, I think back in the 80s, before the FA Cup final, they used to have a celebrity football match.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right,
Dennis
right.
Taylor played in it, and a few, loads of celebrities. Yeah, and I think I think was it Coventry versus Tottenham? And I
gotcha,
think
gotcha.
we were shoved in the Coventry team.
Oh,
Yeah, I
right.
played with Rod Stewart. He lent me his shin pads.
Well, you're probably the only
passed-
person he knew that did fit.
He passed the ball to me. I kicked it out into touch because I was rubbish, and then he
Yeah.
never passed the ball to me again.
I don't blame him.
Frame 3. Judd Trump to break.
I've got it on the kitchen table at home.
I'm going to say I wasn't going to speak first. Yeah, it's going to be interesting now. We keep saying that Neil Robertson has been the man of the season, but as Steve alluded to and John Parrott has just done there, he's being asked a question here. It's okay, getting results where everything's running your way. Can he get a foothold in this match?
He likes a challenge, and he's also, on some occasions when he's had to dig in, slowed things down. Not necessarily deliberately, but perhaps just making double sure. So no player likes to have to disrupt the pace of the game, but if your opponent's flying, sometimes it's needed.
He's not missed one for a while. But he's not left it.
I'd suggest, John, that from 2-0 behind, as a player, you wouldn't necessarily want to take on too many 50-50 risky shots and present your opponent with a 3-0 possibility. You want to make sure of the pot, get started at the very least.
Yes, and particularly with the form that Judd has shown in, well, the second half of the first frame and that last frame. He's in a mood where one chance would be all we needed, so as you say. But Neil, that's the strength of him, his all-round game. He's going to have to sort of try and play his way into this match. But has he knocked that red over the middle? Well, it's just run far enough.
It's not potable. But it looks for all the world like this frame is a safety battle to the top cushion, the black cushion. Unavoidable now. And it's who dare risk one into the middle pocket. It's a very good safety shot, though. Oh, it just goes. And that's the type of shot I was talking about. Really, you don't want to be playing this shot, but on another day, perhaps you'd go for it.
Well, he's playing the safety. He needs a good length here with this cue ball. Needs to find that baulk cushion. And he's judged it well. I don't know whether he gets that much advantage out of the shot.
Even more of a tempter into the middle pocket. A round of applause. You've got the cue ball bang on the baulk cushion.
Yeah, the red closest to the brown doesn't go in the middle pocket. The other one does, but I don't see where the colour comes from. And a risky pot with no reward, you wouldn't think he'd take it on.
Tough safety.
Yeah. Not automatic by any means.
Hard to see one from here. I assume the red goes past the brown into the green pocket, so you couldn't just replace the cue ball with the red on the left side cushion. And obviously if you cannot see a safety shot, then this red becomes more viable. Deserves a bit of thinking. And it's this type of shot, I think, John John, where whilst there's been talk about like shot clocks, it would ruin the game of snooker, because you need to think about a type of shot like this, and I think the crowd know it's a big moment in the frame.
Yeah, and I think particularly in the majors, okay, there is room for shot clocks in different type of tournaments. He's gone for it, and a terrific pot. Well, considering he was tight up against that ball cushion, it was worth the wait. Great pot.
Yeah, the shot clock would have ruined the moment there, and it made it all the more special. What a great shot.
3.
And now a chance.
Four. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was funny, as you said, there was no easy safety on, and he was almost forced into playing the pot. And how many times do we see that when a player can see no alternative but to take a risky pot on? Still want potting, and it was a great shot.
I assume the black goes into the right corner. Makes things a lot easier if it does.
8.
Does, but that red to the left corner, obviously not straight enough to drop it in and be on the black, so this is the alternative.
9.
He's okay, because there's a red available, which he'd like to just pot the blue, screw back a couple of inches, leave himself straight on the red that's in the open, 2 up from the black, and then just roll that in and be on the black. Into this pocket he's playing the blue.
And if he wins the frame in this visit, you can't praise him enough. Back against the wall. Horrible opening red. Digging himself out of a hole here.
14.
Yes, it'll still take some doing to win the frame at this visit, but we were saying what was going to be his response to losing the first 2 frames.
15.
He obviously wants to play for the red that's just to the right of the black. Once he clears that out of the way, the black is available into both corners. So immediately on that red.
22. 23. $30. 31. 38.
That little cluster of 5 below the, or in between the pink and black, he's going to have to bring those into play if he's going to win the frame at this visit. 3 reds, 3 blacks will not be enough.
39.
Should be going into them now. Trying to. I thought he would screw into them, and with the backspin hold for more reds, but
46.
perhaps you can use the pink to open them up with. I thought a sort of screw back into the pack there would have guaranteed the cue ball to stay up the top part of the table.
47.
Must be something goes I can't see here.
Well, I can only assume that the pink will not go back on its own
Yeah.
spot and there's a red available.
He hasn't got perfectly on the pink. Yeah, okay. Can't really stun it as well from over the top of the red, but looks to have an angle to go off the side cushion.
Well, there
Neil
you
Robertson,
go. And I
47.
honestly think that he chose the wrong choice there. He just wanted to keep it all very neat, but the problem was, and as you said, he had a good angle on that red to play on the pink to run into the reds. Why play for the pink as he did
1.
and leave himself hampered? He's left himself open for the counter-attack here.
Yeah, I think if he'd played it again 10 times, screwing into the pack off the black, he would have got a good percentage of good outcomes.
8.
Yeah, it's a case of just trying to be a little bit too precise.
9.
Of course, the big problem, Bob, well, there's another problem now because he's not got the right angle on this blue. Well, just a slight angle. Can he run it in off the side cushion and across to disturb the 4 reds? Has he? No, he's missed the line. Judd thought the cue ball was going in. I didn't.
14.
Yeah, just striking down, probably widen the angle a little bit.
14. Judd trump.
Excellent length with the safety. And Judd would just be glad to still be in this frame. 33 points behind, but there's 67 remaining. Yeah, nicely controlled. I mean, Judd would love to get this red away, the one that's near the cushion, near the left middle pocket, but I'm not certain he can guarantee a good safety off that red. So he's decided to play a containing one, but it was never going to be that good to me unless he got the cue ball tight to the cushion. And I can't see Neil Robertson here refusing the pot because that's his little insurance, that awkward red near the side cushion.
He's nearly over the line, but needs another red to get going, obviously. Fair way out, but was concentrating on good cue ball, but it's a chance for Judd Trump. Going back to that part with the splitting of the reds, I think he might have been able to have got over the line with the loose reds, knowing that that red went into, and then the pink didn't spot. He might have felt he didn't need to go into the pack. But that's a great shot from Judd Trump. And now only that red by the centre pocket, saving Neil Robertson from this level. Another loss. Can Judd Trump somehow get that red off and retain position?
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing, retain position,
5.
because that red, with it being so close, it's quite easy to push it past the middle pocket.
6.
Well, I think he was looking for an angle on the yellow to maybe try and nudge that red into play, but too straight on the yellow to attempt that now. So the red on the left-hand side cushion could be the key to
8.
this frame.
9.
Might
15.
come down for a ball colour if he can. But even so, as you say, John, if he doesn't get the red off the cushion, it's not guaranteed to stick it up. Needs an angle on
16.
yellow or brown, which is guaranteed. Probably worthwhile hitting this harder to try and push it up the table. Be very hard to get it to stay over the middle. Well, he's nudged it an absolute fraction off the cushion, which would make it
18.
a little bit easier. What a shot this would be.
Judd trump, 18.
Flipped away there. He was just... That was a half chance. Neil Robertson comes back to the table. Look at Judd just looking away. He knew that was an opportunity. Neil Robertson 15 points in front, but this is no easy shot. And of course, being a left-hander...
Not absolutely sure he can see all the ball either.
You think the bump of the middle pocket's in the way? Maybe it is. Oh, it's hard to say, isn't it? I think it's one of those you'd only know if you were right behind the shot. You'll soon know. But it's a tough pot anyway. Didn't play the pots, played the safety. And, well, wasn't bad kits on the black from the red, was it?
And he controlled the cue ball well. Must have been a bit worried, possibly about double kissing. Pretty tight for the double kiss.
There is a gap. The only thing is that, just looking at that, oh, he's asking Neil to have a look. I've never seen that one before. Does he not trust the referee's eyesight? It's usually the referee who keeps an eye on it. I've never seen that before.
Really think there's much chance of Judd missing it, really. Could hit a fair portion of it, but he hasn't got it safe. Chance for Robertson.
Yes, and right in the heart of the pocket. And as I said, with that gap that Judd had, he was always hitting, for him, the wrong side of the red. And you can't leave Neil Robertson that type of long pot. He invariably knocks them in. OK, he's not been doing so far in this match, but that wasn't going to last. And now just yellow and green needed to get his first frame on the board.
7.
Played a lot better this frame, but having missed an easier enough pink, he gave Judd a chance of getting back into it.
10.
Judd sitting there, knows his frame's over now.
$14.
The next frame will be the
19.
one before the mid-session interval, so it's going to take on a little bit more importance.
25 on the frame.
And Neil Robertson knocks it in, so Judd Trump had a chance on that last red. He was disappointed, but in the end a good long pot from Neil Robertson, and he gets his first frame on the scoreboard. He still trails though, 2-1.
Frame 4. Neil Robertson to break.
There's the trophy that one of these players will be hoping to get their hands on. Neil Robertson has already lifted it once. Judd Trump yet to win a Masters. Caught that much too thick, and that's why the cue ball hasn't gone back to the other half of the table. So a nice easy starter for Neil Robertson here.
Black got a bit tied up during that shot.
1.
Red to the right of the black would be a nice one to get on, and also at the correct angle he could get the black out straight away if he gets right on the red.
Six. Seven.
Great shot to get correct side of the blue.
Yeah. 12.
And now nicely on this red. Get the black on its spot, available into both corners. And we asked what the response from Neil Robertson was going to be. And it looks like a positive one.
13.
Didn't waste much time in getting that black back into open play. Not a fantastic pack at the moment.
20.
Didn't like the contact
21.
There's a loose red at the bottom of the pack. Good play to leave himself low on that, and in potting it, release a few reds. Depends whether he can hold for it.
I think he feels that there's a lot of chance of losing the cue ball on this shot. So he didn't hit it with too much pace. Is he on the red? That's what he's played for. It's tight.
28.
May have to just play with a tracer right hand side and just turn this red over.
No, I'm not sure he's happy with it. He's had a... Right, he's going for it. Oh, well played.
29.
Made that with side spin. See where the cue ball hit the red. It wasn't going to the pocket, but the side, right-hand side spin flicked the red left. Great judgment there.
Another good shot there to force that angle. Come round up two cushions, finish absolutely perfect on the red.
Lining up the pink That's the ball to try and open the reds here.
$37.
Well, if he's going to play this with any pace, which he's got to, he's got to be pretty accurate with the pink. Oh, and he was, and it's worked out absolutely perfect. He's not to red, just to the side of the black. He's finished on a red to the left corner. He could not have played it any better. And even the pink doesn't hamper his cueing.
43.
Well, I'll be
44.
amazed now if we're not going into that mid-session interval 2-all.
Well, this is so impressive from 2-0 down. And back against the wall in the third frame.
51. $52. $59.
So 59 points the lead. Not certain about the availability. Those two reds that are very close together, just below the pink. I don't know whether the left hand one of them will go to the right corner. If it doesn't, then he may have to be thinking, well, I don't think it does. So he's got to be thinking, potting this red, get a nice angle on a colour to bring reds into play.
60.
He needs another red. One into the middle.
Maybe.
Looks to have a decent angle on the black to get relatively close to a red into the left middle. Should that be the choice?
That's what he's played. I'm looking at his body language. I think he's happy with the result. This red would put him 68 points in front with just 67 remaining.
$68.
Cool as a whistle. So that definitely puts us all square. Judd Trump off to a flyer, race to a 2-0 lead. But he knew, and I suppose we all knew really, that Neil Robertson, the way he's been playing this season, was going to start firing on all cylinders sooner rather than later. So both players will go into the
75.
mid-session interval with good thoughts to take from these first four frames.
76.
I suppose Steve Judd would be the more disappointed having held a 2-0 lead.
83.
Yeah. And also perhaps Neil Robertson feeling like more like he's Superman, that he's never going to be
84.
taken apart, that he's has the ability in all departments of the game from any position. It's always a nice feeling.
Well, we keep saying he's been the man of the season so far, winning the Champion of Champions, the UK Championship. And he's such a beautiful cueist, and potter, and a good
91.
all-round game as he's proved to claw his way back into this match. Well, he hit the first red, but it didn't stop him getting to the potting angle, so still a chance of a century. We've already seen one in the second frame from Judd Trump. And chance of a big break here. If he pots the blue, there's a possible 140 on. And as I said earlier, the highest break at the moment is held by Mark Allen.
97.
137.
137.
Not often these days. The high break is,
98.
by the end of the tournament, less than 140. But obviously less matches in the Masters than most.
104.
That was the 15th centre, or this is the 15th centre of the tournament. The black and the 6 remaining colours for a 139.
$112. 114. 117.
'Well, Stephen Hendry in the
121.
studio just before this frame said that Neil at the moment hasn't started strutting round the table. He's strutting round it now. This has been a marvellous
126.
break. Never put a foot wrong. And this black
132.
and the high break prize is £10,000. And that's it, a 139. And Neil Robertson absolutely responded as we probably knew he would. Judd Trump led by 2 frames to 0. Neil Robertson won a scrappy third frame, but nothing scrappy about that one. Highest break of the tournament. Interval, 2 apiece.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Frame 5, Judd trumps a break.
So Judd Trump gets the 5th frame underway. No more intervals. Played to a finish now. Best of 11. First to 6 frames. Nice clean opening red, and it looks like it will stop short of the baulk line, which will give him a choice of baulk colours. So an early chance as Judd decides to fill his glass full of water, he may have a chance to drink quite a bit of it.
Wasn't a bad safety shot. Wasn't a bad opening break.
Too hard this, too hard. He's overscrewed it. He's on nothing.
Neil Robertson, 3.
I find that a surprising choice of shot. Obviously didn't want to come off the main bunch of reds and not bring reds into play. Wants to keep it tight by the look of that. But as I say, put no pressure on Judd whatsoever. And all that considered, that's not the best shot from Judd. Okay, maybe he couldn't have got behind the yellow, but he should have had this cue ball tight to the baulk cushion.
Well, that shot was interesting in as much as he's decided once again to not open the pack and risk leaving Judd an easy starter.
Terrific pot.
As it was, of course, he called it far too thin. If that's a game plan, keep the balls tight against Judd.
Yeah, it surprised me, as I say, when he run out of position the first time, that he didn't try and get back into the baulk end. And then, as you say, was just intent on it, playing a thin safety, so he didn't bring any reds into play. Judd will be playing a cannon here. Everything will move. And he's played it absolutely perfect. So well, in fact, I don't think he needs to play another cannon. Just needs to rely
16.
on good cue ball control. They're there for a match-winning contribution. Oh, sorry, match. Don't get ahead of yourself. Frame-winning contribution.
$17.
Nicely on the blue.
It was a wonderful shot to split the pack up. It got so much
22.
backspin on the cue ball that it powered its way back through the reds and opened them up
23.
beautifully. Didn't really hit them that hard, but got so much backspin on.
30.
Be a little bit disappointed with that.
31.
And if it should have been straighter on that red and play for the black. So the cue ball now trying to travel up and down the table. You can lose control of it.
And in many ways, the baulk colours, yellow and green,
34.
are better suited to guaranteeing to get back up the table than the blue sometimes.
35.
Played for a choice of reds there. Always knew if he overhit it slightly, he'd have the
42.
one to the left middle. But as we were saying, it was such a good pack breaker that he doesn't have to play any more cannons. As I say,
43.
just keep good close control with the cue ball. And the frame's at his mercy.
$48. 49.
So you wouldn't expect him to miss this. It all depends
54.
really whether it's a natural just to drop it in on the black. Well, it looks like he's going back up for the blue again. Oh, but good clean pot.
55.
Just about got the angle required. Red and a colour required. 57
60.
ahead, 67 remaining.
$61.
Well, I think his heart was in his mouth for a second there. It was onto the jaw. That's why he stayed down. But just enough of the pocket to go in. And that black is the clincher, or should be. 65 ahead now, 59 remaining.
68.
But he'd love to pot this and keep Neil Robertson in his chair. And in it goes. Neil Robertson got a little bit negative with a couple of safety shots early on in this frame. Whether it was a game plan just to keep the balls tight.
77.
But with someone like Judd Trump and his cue power, as we saw, he got a nice angle on the black and he opened the reds up beautifully.
84.
Good standard, Steve, isn't it? This could be the
85.
third century of the match.
Yes, turning into a cracking match we thought it was, and that was after a very nervy opening frame.
92.
No chance of the highest break of the tournament with this break, so expect something naughty,
93.
John, especially with that chat with Ken Doherty.
Yeah, well, make certain the black. Let's see the 100 first. Well played. Very well played. A terrific opening red, you know, when you look
100.
back, when he was tight under the cushion.
102.
I don't think there'd be anything naughty on this green. I think could start with the brown, I feel. You know.
Yeah, I don't think the greens... I think if you played it too hard, you wouldn't get position on the brown, so drop the green in, get nicely on the brown. And it looks like he's playing for the brown in the middle. So this is
105.
where the naughtiness begins. Well, a bit of an anticlimax, but he did what was necessary. Neil Robertson, well, I don't know about his tactics, but he didn't work that frame, and that was an excellent century from Judd Trump, and he's in the lead again. This time, 3-2. So Judd with a smile on his face. And that's why he was saying he was just lacking a bit in confidence, as we saw then with those stats. Best performance this season is a runner-up in the Shanghai Masters. Someone of his ability, you'd expect him to have won something this season. Maybe he's saving his
Frame
best for the
6.
second half of
Neil
it.
Robertson to break.
Well, you can only try your hardest on a table in any given match. You can't make things happen, but what you can do, as was discussed in the interval, you can work hard in practice, give yourself the best possible chance to actually convert a tournament. He's nearly got this behind the yellow, but it's a tempter for Neil Robertson. Would have been better if the red behind the black wasn't there. He'd have had an escape path. Oh, yeah, he's actually snookered him. I think he can't get past it. So, problem now for Neil Robertson.
Yeah, he can hit the red, but he certainly can't get to the potting angle. And as you say, Steve, as we watch going on for he's just, in case there's a miss, he's just looking at it so he can replace the cue ball. But with that red...
It's a tough, hard swerve, isn't it? To play it hard. It's similar to what John Parrott was talking about, you know, to making the shot with a bit of side spin, but doesn't fancy it.
No, coming round
Into the back of the pack off two, yeah?
Yep. I think it's a lot easier to get the ball to turn over if you're close to them, but from that distance, does it reach? Not
Foul,
quite.
a miss. Judd Trump full.
Well, he got it close enough that he stopped Judd from potting a red into the middle pocket for a little bit of time there. I thought he made a glaring error, but Colin Humphries has got to get it. It's absolutely dead on because that shot on the red was available, only just. I think he'll play exactly the same shot.
Now, just explain to me about the misrule. If he can see that red full in the face, if he doesn't hit them this time, will he get warned?
Yeah, if he can hit a full ball.
Well, hit them this time, that's plenty hard enough.
Bit hard to get out of this at the moment. Or perhaps Neil Robertson can play thin off the red with awkward bridging.
Yeah, when Neil got out of his seat, he'd been hoping for the words from the referee of touching ball, but it wasn't. He had 2 goals at that, but it's not a foul for an air shot, the snooker.
The twitchy one for the first one. It's just did it as a guide. There you go. Oh, that was all right. Bit harder than he wanted. So this has resolved the stalemate anyway.
The one thing I did notice at the World Championship last season, that I felt that Judd Trump's all-round game was improving. His tactical nous, if you like. But as we say when we were watching the stats in between frames, that he hasn't been getting the best of results, but I certainly feel now that he's a more all-round player. He's not just a potter and break builder. I don't think you can be just a potter and break builder to get consistent results.
Don't think the 2-ball plants on could be made, but it's risky. It's too far off line really to be trying to make that. At least Neil Robertson thinks so. I wonder if Judd Trump thinks the same. Not even considering it. That could be made as a potential plant.
I think he's more concerned he doesn't want to knock a red towards this corner pocket. We don't need the bump of the middle pocket. Well, sometimes it can work out as a bad bump, but he may not have left anything. A little bit fortunate. It's very difficult to get that cue ball tight to the baulk cushion, as he was so close to the cushion as he was hitting the white. So no real pressure here on Judd. And this looks a good length.
It was an excellent safety shot and considered quite unlucky really to have kept the black safe. He was trying to open things up with that safety shot. Still put it a bit on Neil Robertson, who's got an ultra thin red. Never nice. We saw Sean Murphy miss 3 of these on the trot earlier in the tournament.
Yeah, funny enough, last evening Mark Allen did exactly the same with the red down this side, exactly like that.
Well, an ultra thin shot like that, John, the table doesn't have to roll off that much for it to be missed. No table on the planet has ever been totally level.
And of course, if he catches the red he's playing a fraction too thick, he'll run into the red that's on the left-hand side cushion. So you've got to hit it thin, but
Thank you.
it was this almost similar shot that Sean Murphy forfeited a frame. And Mark Allen last evening missed it twice. As I say, but he doesn't want to hit it too thick, but he wants to hit it, and he's not hit it.
Foul, miss. Judd
Well,
Trump
no
foul.
way Judd will get out of his seat now. He'll want it replaced.
Well, they were questioning whether Sean Murphy should have played the same shot for the 3rd time. Mark Allen suggested that perhaps he wouldn't have risked missing it again. So will Neil Robertson play the same shot or choose a more containing safety?
Could you just bring that up again, please?
Well, funnily enough, that incident last night when Mark Allen missed the red twice, he then went and hit a red full ball. He didn't get it safe, funnily enough, and that's how Barry Hawkins finished up clinching the frame and match.
Okay, must hit a red this time. Against the frame.
You heard the warning. If you don't hit a red this time, you forfeit the frame. So he's not playing the thin one now. Making certain he hits this red. Now, where's that cue ball going to finish? Well, I think there's a red to the middle. I think there's just a red to the middle. There's one to the corner, but being hampered as he is, doesn't make it easy. But that's why he didn't want to play that type of shot, but he was forced into it with the 2 misses.
Yeah, he played it very positively. I thought possibly he could have just trundled the red towards the pocket, wobble, goes safe, white ball goes into the jaws, made it hard for Judd Trump. But in a different way, he's made it very awkward for Judd Trump.
Well, that red just below the pink for me definitely goes to the right middle.
It's a bit more of a cut than it looks, but well, never in doubt, was it?
Has he got on the black? That is the question. He's on the black. It's not the easiest of opportunities, this, mainly because the black is now unavailable.
8.
And he sort of overscrewed that a little bit too. Oh, wait a minute, the black does go. Didn't look as though it'd go, but it does go to the opposite corner to this red. You wouldn't play for it off this red, I wouldn't have thought. But to get back up for the blue, he's got to play this. There's quite a bit of right-hand side on the cue ball. Well, he did play for the black, and he's judged it perfection. Beautifully played. It turned out to be an absolute natural. So now it's a chance. Judged the cannon perfectly. The black at the moment is still only available into the right corner.
16.
Even potting this red to the left corner won't release the black, but if he gets rid of the other red, the black will be available into both corner pockets.
17.
And he can play for the red to the left of the black this time. What a chance this has turned out to be.
I don't suppose Neil Robertson in his wildest dreams would have thought when he went for that red with pace down the left cushion as his third attempt after 2 misses that he was going to get the black into play.
24.
He missed it by some distance, and look how that cue ball went round, and then this red bumped into that and the black was opened up.
Careless positional shot appears though from Judd. He's tied the pink and black up now.
25.
So what looked a good opportunity. He'll do well now to get past the winning line at this visit. And even more so now.
30.
I'm going to be very disappointed with his last 2 shots. Last 3 shots.
As you can see, there's a straight red here. Now, if he was just off straight and he could nudge the pink and black into play, he may be tempted, but it's only a safety. And not the best of safety.
30.
So maybe he was just a little upset at breaking down. And he's not hit that at all. This was a shot where he finished up holding the black spot, and he was trying to play a little stun run through. Misjudged it.
Just saw his reaction. Left the camera there, disgust at holding the black spot. Neil Robertson once again playing very thin on the red. Trying not to disturb much from his safeties. Nearly's a plant. This is a far better safety shot, cutting off route back down the table. It's tough playing thin safety. This isn't as thin as the last time.
shot his best for some time.
This time, Judd, who has a chance, I think, oh no, perhaps he doesn't, as I say, have a chance of playing a thin one onto the black. He won't want to disturb the black from this position. But I think the green's stopping him.
He's just a bit wary. There's a gap between the yellow and green to play this red, but if he hits it thin on the left-hand side as we look, he'll be sending it towards the right corner. If he tries to play safe off the one that's tight to the top cushion, if you catch these two thick, he'll come up the table with the white. Oh, he's hit that beautifully. He's hit that absolutely beautifully. Tremendous safety. Well played. Well, giving this plenty of thought, he can get through to this red that's closest to the top cushion, but as I say, these are very difficult to get safe off. Just don't hit them thin enough, then the cue ball goes nowhere. And there's my old mate Patsy Fagan. He's keeping it a secret, but he's 65 today. You don't look it, Pat. 1977 UK champion. Great player.
Well, it took a long time to decide on the shot and messed it up completely.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
Yeah. Opened the black up again.
Yeah, needed. He obviously wasn't playing the pot, so needed to hit it a lot thinner than he did.
Good black. Looked easy, but was missable.
Yeah, particularly when you're playing those delicate little screws, you've got to be careful on these super fine cloths that the cue ball just doesn't slide away.
You'd have been pleased to see that go in.
Yeah, he's not inch perfect, but I think there's a gap. That's what he'll be playing for.
For the blue here, I think.
Yeah, either blue or pink. He wouldn't want to risk trying to play for the black.
Pink.
9.
Pink a better choice than the blue. Could have gone funny on the blue.
He's played that well. Obviously, if it had been straighter, he could have played for the red that's just up and to the left of the pink spot. But these two reds in a line, one of them will definitely go to this right corner.
15.
And that will give him a good position on the black.
16.
Well, has he gone far enough? Yes, he's just about okay.
For a split second there, Neil Robertson would have been hoping by Judd Trump's body movements that he'd not got on it.
23. 24.
Well, he's only a few pots away from the winning line in this frame now. Won the first 2 frames. Neil Robertson came back in good fashion, and particularly to make it 2 each with the highest break of the tournament so far, a
30.
139. But it's
31.
Judd Trump who really has been winning the safety exchanges, which has turned this round slightly. And it looks like, well, for certain now, Judd's going to win another 2 frames in a row.
$38.
Potential century.
Turn that phone off, please.
Wasn't so much the phone ring, it was just
39.
such a bad ringtone.
$45. $46.
So nice angle on the black now. Play the run through. Disturb these reds near the top cushion. Well, I didn't have to play it with too much pace, and judged it to perfection.
53.
We've
54.
already had 3 century breaks in the first 5 frames. Every likelihood we could see a 4th one here. Standard just gets higher and higher.
61.
We completely put the
62.
kibosh on this and say it's absolutely nailed on century.
Ooh, he's played the cannon and missed it. So good pot needed
69.
on this red. Oh, and got sweet as a nut.
70.
So don't let us down, Judd. Just drop this
77.
in. Bound to be on the black. Well played.
78.
May have to go in and out of balking and find the gap in between the yellow and brown. Oh, he's took his eye off the black.
Trump, 78. And
Well,
a
you
frame.
said that we was going to ruin it, Steve, but, well, it didn't really matter. No century, but another frame for Judd Trump. So, once again, 2 frames in front. 4-2 this time.
Thank you. Frame 7. Judd trump to break.
Judd just left the arena after that frame. A little grimace there as he played that, because it seems every time he breaks off he loses this half-ball pot to the corner. And he's done it again. And it's such a dangerous thing to do with a potter of Neil Robertson's quality. And with the black available into both corners, it's a decent chance. And if you remember, in the frame after the mid-session interval, Neil knocked a similar one in, played the yellow, overscrewed it, and run out of position. But I think the positional side of this shot is a little bit easier than it was in that 5th frame.
Three. Four. Eleven.
Just underscrew that a little bit. I didn't expect him to miss it, but he'd like to have been a little bit straighter. So the thing is, if he's straighter, he's got more control of the cue ball. He's got into it too much. It's not a great angle on the blue, particularly as if he played the blue, he'd be using the rest. If he was right-handed, the green would be the ball to play, but he's run out of position. Good shot needed to keep this break going now. Well, he struck that absolutely beautifully.
17.
And now back in position.
$18. $25.
In potting this red, he should be able to open up some more reds into play. He's got a guarantee being on a colour. Looks like he's chosen the black. Trusting to luck a bit, but I think he'll
26.
I think he'll settle for that. It's a very aggressive. It's a very aggressive way of going about it. Possibly could have played it softer and just run through for the black into the left corner. Wouldn't have been guaranteed. But a fair bit of pressure on this black. $138, whatever that is.
Just less than quarter ball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, played it well. And judged the cannon nicely. Now, is he on this red? To the right corner. He's giving it the one eye.
$34.
And I said at the time when Judd Trump broke off, he grimaced, he left him that long red on. And that could be the only shot that Judd's going to get now in this frame.
$41. $42. $49. $50. Yeah.
Yeah, this was the break-off shot. Now, Ronnie O'Sullivan always says to me that you've got to finish a foot this side of the baulk line to try and get in behind one of the baulk colours, and as you saw,
56.
that cue ball sort of hit the join more or less on the baulk line, therefore you don't cover the red that comes out, and Judd knew as soon as he hit it that he'd left the long pot on. This was the pot, and it looks like it's going to be the frame winner. It's hard to see Neil missing here. It's a tough school, the standard's so high. Red and the black
64.
would put him 72 points in front with just 67 remaining.
65.
Can make another 139 if he fancies it, which would give himself a share of the highest break.
72.
Nobody can't get on the black off this red, but still a good chance of another century.
73.
See that cue action.
78.
Neil Robertson right over his right eye. The cue dead in line with
79.
that. Plenty of left-handed, right-handed players are over their left eye. Arguable whether that's nature or nurture.
86. 87.
So red and the black. Judd Trump's had 2 centuries
92.
already in this match. This will be Neil Robertson's second.
93.
Top quality. And even the break-off shot now has become a bit of a poison chalice if you don't get it right. And as I always say, no matter how good you are, if you sat in that seat,
Here, Robertson,
there's nothing you
100,
can
I'm
do
afraid.
about it. Okay, the red didn't match. He's already had made the highest break of the tournament. And he reduces his arrears now to 1. Judd Trump leads 4-3.
Thank you, frame 8. Neil Robertson to break.
Taking this on, can he avoid the kiss on the black? Well, now the red's gone in. He just wants us to stop short of the baulk line. I don't think it will. He needs a kiss on the yellow.
1.
Just too hard. I'd expect just to roll behind the yellow. You're not going to get much out of it. That's the only thing with the pack clustered as they are.
1. Judd Trump.
That was well judged to decide that he could get past the black with the cue ball. As you say, John, unlikely to get any advantage from this.
Got escape, nevertheless. Touching ball's been declared by referee Colin Humphries, so this makes it that much easier for Judd to play another good safety. He'd like to cut off the edge of the reds if he could with the green, and may well have done.
Foul, a miss.
Just a touch short of pace.
Judd Trump
Not
4.
having any hesitation having it replaced, but if he could have cued past the red,
You just put the screen up. I've lost it.
he maybe would have played the red that's to the right of the blue. Just asking for the screen up because he couldn't remember where the cue ball was. Now it's a bit further over. Oh, a bit further.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody happy? Just did better that time, and no touching ball. Just got a little bit careful here. You don't just slide past these reds, otherwise you could leave the red that's just to the right of the black. Ooh, and he nearly slid past them. A fraction harder and he'd have left the red.
Be very difficult for Judd to get the whole pack hidden from this shot, so getting the cue ball out down into the corner, and will Neil Robertson try to open the pack and play a safety shot, or is he still trying to contain the situation? He's loath to open the pack, isn't he? Could have been forgiven for spreading them all over the place, but you just don't know where the reds are going to go, so he's playing a very precise type of safety, not risking any unwanted reds going toward the corner pocket.
A bit careless that from Judd. So he's left a chance of a pot. That brown will make it slightly awkward cueing, and he'll let you see straight, but he's refusing it just because the brown's going to hamper him. So trying to get this cue ball in behind the brown. Not quite. Good length. And I can understand the applause. The snooker would have been a better result for Neil.
He's got enough of the side of the pack to flick off, but the red's inviting. Should he get it in? He's got an element of safety to the top cushion. He's hit it well, but he hasn't got away with it, although this is a lot more difficult than it looks on TV.
One.
Well, just got a slight angle, but he doesn't have to do much, just roll the blue in. There is a red just up from the pink. Leave himself straight on that. Be a nice run through for the black. So first chance
Six.
for Neil Robertson. First good chance.
Seven.
And the way these two players have been scoring today, you expect them to get sizable breaks. Won't be able to play for the black here, and probably didn't want to. Probably thinking
14.
leave a nice angle on the blue and cannon into
15.
them. Could have done with a little more angle than this. Just under hit that slightly. Well, if he tries to go into the pink direct to play the cannon, he's going to have to generate the pace. May decide to run round off two cushions. You're going to hit this hard.
Couldn't have hit that any better.
20.
And should have got more reds open there. Count yourself a bit unlucky. Can he spot one through the gap? That would be handy. A plant. Well, if it goes, you can screw back for the black.
21.
It's funny there, he put his hand up and apologised to Judd after this red went in, because basically he was lucky to find that plant.
Yeah, a bit of swings and roundabouts really, because I think he
28.
hit the blue so well he should have or could have opened up more reds.
29.
Is this going to be another frame-winning contribution? We've had so many here today. Power snooker.
This is why it's so hard to pick winners in these matches. You know.
36.
Last frame, Judd just broke off, left a long red. With a bout of safety in this. Now Neil's in.
37.
It's just gone slightly awkward because I don't think the blue goes to the right middle. Or does it? No. So straightish green.
He tried to get perfect on the red by the blue, and once again he played on the yellow earlier and
40.
overscrewed it by some way. So well out of position now, and not a frame-winning contribution unless he can pull out something special.
Yes, good pot needed here. Oh, and got. Now what's the cue ball control like?
41.
Not very good. He thought pot the red, bound to be on the black. He's overhit it slightly.
Well, looks like he's lining up the black. Surely not. It's a monstrous blue to take on. He's talking himself into the black for a second there. Top players loathe to cut their losses and play safe, aren't they? Once they get amongst the balls, they want to continue, but you'd have to say sometimes it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and if he doesn't want to play the risky pot, looks like he's got a nice half ball off the green to get the cue ball in behind the brown.
Neil Robertson,
He
41.
played it perfectly.
Not only got the snooker, but got the green safe as well.
Foul from this.
Yeah, it wasn't
You're
far
opposite
away,
foul.
but the only problem with that shot, you're going to go mighty close to the pink if you're coming off the three cushions. But he's frightened, those three reds just to the left of the pink, he's frightened and nestling up to them because he could leave a pot at the red on the red that's just to the right of the blue. So he feels by hitting this one near the right hand cushion, but as I say, he's got to get very close to the pink. Ah, he's misjudged it now completely. So that, you would think, is the end of this frame. We're going to be all square again.
One.
Overscrewed it a little bit further than he would like, but shouldn't cause a problem. But you think he'd be going up for the yellow here.
4.
There's two reds just to the left of the pink that are available into the right corner. You'd rather play for them than the one that's close to blue. You could snooker yourself, as he's done already on that type of shot. But now in prime position. Can't see him missing from here.
6. 7. 14. 15.
That applause signals that he's got to the snooker's required stage. And that pink going in means that no way back to the table now for Judd. Well, it's been a real topsy-turvy match, hasn't it?
21.
Judd Trump won the first 2 frames. Neil Robertson won the next 2 frames. Judd wins 2. And now Neil wins 2.
22.
So it's getting more and more important, though, of course. The target 6. It's going to be 4 apiece. Can someone win 2 frames on the trot in the near future? That would put them over the line.
29.
But still no real signs of who it may be. Doesn't matter
29.
about the red. The frame
Neil
was
Robertson,
well
and
and
the frame.
truly over. So Judd Trump keeps getting his 2-frame advantage. Neil Robertson keeps clawing him back. Still all to play for. 4-all.
Thank you. Frame 9. Judd Trump to break.
Once again, has left the half ball red on. Okay, he may have to dig down a little bit here. It makes the pot a little bit more difficult. He's got to stun it round behind the black. And that's what makes the difference. Where's the red ball going? Well, but it just shows you the difference. That one he couldn't float in. He had to do a little bit with the cue ball. It made all the difference with the pot. So first chance, Judd trump.
1. Eight. 9.
Beautiful. The perfect weight, hit so crisply, giving himself a chance to win arguably the most important frame of the match so far. Whoever wins
16.
this has 2 bites to get over the line.
17. 24.
Early days, of course, John, but if you were going to place balls all over the table, there is always the possibility of a 1-4-7. But I think winning the frame is a prime concern first.
Well, absolutely. And Judd was a little bit disappointed he didn't get a better angle on this red, but it'd surely be too risky to try that red and get on the black. There's other reds available, but of course they're missable.
The red into the right corner would be obviously the one to play for the black, but he must feel as if he can get on the black quite easily. Slightly awkward cueing. There's going to be a long bridge, but he's happy that he's going to be able to control it. So, going to screw through the gap between the 2 reds. Is that the plan?
Well, it's risky because he's
No, he's
bound
playing
to
a
be on the...
topspin.
Yeah, he's going for the blue. The frame is the
25.
priority.
Not a great shot.
No, it just went a little bit awkward. When you're close like that, it's hard to get the top spin. So if he sends his cue ball in and out of balk, he's got to avoid the kiss on possibly the green is the big blocker. But decided just to roll it in and leave himself a mid-distance red. So good cueing needed. It's always difficult with that type of shot to get the necessary top spin.
30.
So this could be the key to the frame. Right in the heart of the pocket. Never any doubt.
Not ideally placed on the black. He's got to have some action on this cue ball, which isn't a problem for him, but I don't think he's judged the pace right. Got away with it a fraction.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked for a moment he was going to be on
38.
nothing, but I think he's got a choice of reds. You'd think the one to the left middle is the better. But he's playing the one to the right. Yeah, right in the heart of the pocket, and now back in perfect position. He didn't hit that in the middle of the pocket once again. Nice little nudge. This is not the red he
46.
played for, I can assure you.
47.
Not wasting much time here. Letting his ability, natural talent do the work. This is what you practice for, so that when it comes to the match, you can flow.
52.
Average shot time for
53.
Judd Trump is an astonishing 16 seconds a shot.
just not finding perfect position at the moment, I've got to say that. He should have been straighter on the pink.
59.
He played a black before that didn't go in the middle and got a fortunate kiss on a red that left it on. So he may be just feeling it, but he's only a few pots. That's okay, but does the black go?
60.
And I don't think it does, and if it doesn't, it's very tight. I think he's going to have to play the pink, and there's pressure on this. If it goes in, it's a frame winner. If he misses it, chance for Robertson to counter-attack. Tremendous shot. Absolutely top class. We're seeing some snooker today, Steve.
66.
Shot of the match so far. So easy to have missed that through tension.
67.
In goes the black, snooker's required. And if we're thinking about it, Neil Robertson made a 139 in frame 4. There's a possible 141 on here.
Thank you. 74. $75.
Assume he's done the maths.
82. $83.
Marvellous performance here by Judd Trump. This is really going to set the next frame up nicely.
$90.
If he can convert this into a
91.
century break, it would be 5 centuries in 9 frames. Oh, superb shot.
Could have just done with running past the pink, but if he plays the red and the pink, he's still got a 140 on. Neil Robertson, you probably saw him there in the corner of your eye. He was trying to look round Judd's body. His 3rd century of the match. Sensational stuff from the Juddernauts. And he knows now.
105.
Red, black, and all the colours. For the highest break of the
106.
tournament. And he knows because he sat in his chair and watched Neil Robertson make the 139 in the 4th frame. Right in the middle of the pocket. Just the 6 colours standing between Judd and the high break.
113.
Well, Jan, there's always this practice over Christmas that Judd was talking about with Ken paying off here.
118.
And of course a double whammy for Neil Robertson. Not saying this break will stand by the end of the tournament, but he's more or less taking £10,000 out of Neil Robertson's pocket here.
122.
If he can pot these 3 remaining balls.
$127. 133.
Fantastic! Absolutely fantastic! Judd Trump's 3rd century of the match, and not only is it his 3rd, it's the highest break of the tournament, beating Neil Robertson's 139 with a 140. Absolutely tremendous, and he now is 1 frame away from a place in the semi-final.
Thank you. Frame 10. Neil Robertson to break.
Well, this looks like a better length off the break-off shot, but there's still this red available. But it was made more difficult with a good length of cue ball.
Well, there is an element of shot to nothing about just rolling that red into the left corner and only being able to leave up the red he would miss. But he spotted one into the opposite corner. That's the same equation. Quite a way out there. I think he played the pot. Could have been a safety shot.
Yeah, I think he did play the pot, but probably making certain the one thing he didn't want to do if he missed it was career into the other reds. And it was tight, wasn't it? To roll that in and get position on the black. Now Neil Robertson is desperately looking for an opportunity. We know what he'll do if he gets one. But who is going to win this vital safety battle?
Potential for the black to get tied up a bit here. Oh, not playing that. I thought he was going to play the pack. That's a far better shot. Still could get a bit messy, this frame. So Neil Robertson has a big target behind the green and brown, shifting reds around a bit.
He's covered the escape.
Full.
Does anything go? If it doesn't, we'll have it replaced. Well, there is a red just below the pink that there's a gap for it.
Definitely goes. Although he's not convinced. I've never been one for looking from behind the pocket, but a lot of players do like to check from that angle. Okay, so he's got enough room for manoeuvre here. He just flicked the red, but he's still got it.
He wins the safety exchange and he gets first chance.
Didn't flick the red. Wait for my glasses to come through.
Not quite certain. He's obviously thinking about where the pink's going to go when it's respotted. I don't think it's a problem potting the pink and getting on the next red. Now, where does the pink go? comfortably goes on its own spot. Is it available
7.
to the right corner? No. Not available, so it's tied up, out of commission. Well, he tried
8.
to stun across for the black, and I don't think he's stunned far enough over.
Yeah, that's a mistake. He caught that a bit thicker than he wanted. He had a bit more room to play with the pocket. Big blue to take on now.
Such a good potter, though. There's not many balls safe on the table when Neil Robertson's playing.
13.
Has he got an angle to be able to get on the black off the top cushion? It looks like he has.
And of course, potting this red clears the black spot. So it could not have worked
14.
out any better.
Don't tell me another century break. What a performance that would be.
Well, this is just an incredible standard.
21. 22.
Didn't feel as though he could play for the black there. And he's not come perfect on this blue. One thing you want to try and avoid, if you can, is playing cannons, because then it can go wrong. And the yellow, which is a straight one, which you could play, he's overscrewed that type of shot a couple of times. So he's not in ideal position.
He's too wide on the blue to make this comfortable. Potting the blue and screwing into the pack, as you say, John, is trusting a bit to luck. And it's difficult to see exactly those two reds above the black, how they're placed. He's certainly out of position, that's for certain.
Well, I assume that this bottom red of the two
27.
will go.
Oh, this is tough, but I think he'll get it. Oh, well played.
28.
Yeah. It's such a high standard here.
You don't expect these players to miss the pressure shots, do you, today? That's just been superb.
And every time you think that somebody could wobble slightly, they just pull out another tremendous shot.
35. 36. 43. 44.
Well, short of ideal. He's going to have to leave himself further away, and for the left-hander, a bit more difficult. Another important shot coming up.
49. 50.
Well, this time, slight angle on the blue. So you'd think he'd play for the red that's on the left-hand side of the table here. He's looking for a couple of reds, couple of colours after this blue to take us to a decider.
$55.
I think he's just about okay to stun this in across the face of the black for the black in the same pocket.
56.
He's under-hit it. He's under-hit it. And a quick glance at the scoreboard. He still needs the black and one more colour. And one more red, sorry. It's gone wrong.
Still a good chance of getting the black, but the position makes it harder.
What a marvellous shot that was.
You just can't fault them, can you? It's just
63.
been an exhibition of snooker of the highest standard. And that's
64.
the ball that puts him 68 points in front with just 67 remaining. It's one chance snooker all the way.
Well, John, whoever loses this match has got every right to kick the dressing room door in.
71.
What a lovely pot. That means that Judd will not be coming back to the table. We're definitely into a decider. Be nice to see another century. And every likelihood that we will.
77.
Needs a good angle off a colour here to split the three reds up.
$78.
Just astonishing standard.
Robertson, 78.
No, pity no century, but quite understandably now, both players are going to leave the arena. It's all square. We've got a deciding frame to look forward to. Who will it be? Well, hard to say.
Judd trumps a break.
First serve and cross as far as Judd Trump's concerned. Okay, he may have left this red to the corner, but the black's tied up, so Neil Robertson won't be knocking one in off the break here. It's a tough school, Steve, when you have to say that. Just to get it safe off the break is so important.
He'd have been delighted to see the way they panned out. Early red into the ball carrier. Judd really would want to clear the black. It's a positive thing to do.
Looks like this is going to turn into a bit of a tactical affair at this end of the table. Now, normally, a couple of seasons ago, you would have favoured Neil Robertson in this situation, but as I said earlier, I think Judd's all-round game has improved so much. Read it nicely. Normally you'd want to cover the red that's on the baulk line, but with that other red being in that half of the table, it wasn't that important. But if Neil plays this red, which he is doing, he's got to be careful he doesn't leave the other red, or a chance of it, to the middle.
Well, that was a risk.
Yeah, it could have gone in off as easy as you like.
Not looking at cut the red into the middle pocket and element of shot to nothing, is it? Shot that would be. Don't think it's on. Surely not. He looked at it.
Yeah, I don't think he can risk playing back to the baulk end and
No.
off another red.
I think the cue ball goes towards the blue anyway, but he still may be playing to the top cushion. He's tried it.
What a shot! Unbelievable! What a shot!
One.
Opportunism at the very best, and can he knock this black in? It's not ideal.
It's there. What an opening red. Now, deciding frames, different kettle of fish. But he gets first chance.
It's a chance from nothing. Reds are very tightly bunched, but it looks like he's got a fantastic opportunity to get the absolute perfect angle on the blue to smash them all over the table.
Yeah, pink spot not available. Has to go as close to its spot as it can in the direct line with the middle of the top cushion.
Just checking those two reds that it's close to the pink and not a plant into the middle, into the
15.
corner pocket. Be some sort of weird plant to have happened 2 shots from now. That wouldn't be great.
Perfect angle though on the red to get nicely on the blue.
16.
And here's the smash. Doesn't look as though there's a plant to one of the corners, so he can go for this full-blooded. Well, just got a little bit too much backspin on the cue ball. Hit the red full, but the cue
21.
ball then went away from the reds. He should have stunned that into them more than have a little backspin. So he's got a red, but it's Not straightforward.
That was a brilliant shot, and he can count himself a little bit unlucky. He's lost the cue ball to the side cushion. Another pressure pot on the blue. No guarantee of position either. Needs to commit.
Well, how did that drop? It came out once and twice.
27.
Neil Robertson must have thought he'd missed it. I think Judd thought he'd missed it. Tension. Not in the centre, but it was still a good
28.
strike. And Judd Trump must be feeling the heat here. This is so exciting. Doesn't look like he's feeling it, though.
It's a
gilt-edged chance now. That opens things up nicely.
34.
Played superb throughout the match. Just got to hold himself together now for this last opportunity. What a fantastic exhibition of snooker from both players. But Judd Trump now
41.
has the chance to sew it up here and now.
42.
Judd Trump keeping his head as still as possible on the shot, trying to keep the nerves under wraps.
There's the Judd family. Judd's father there and his mother.
He's just
47.
looking like he's not going to miss, but you never know. There's a twist in the tail.
48.
He's kept his rhythm up so well. Yeah, fair point, because it's easy sometimes just to overthink it a little bit in moments like this. But he's obviously not perfect on this pink. Otherwise, he'd have played it by now. There's the girlfriend, Khadija, and, well, she's new to this game. It's a terrible watch sometimes.
Bit short of pace. First mistake.
54.
Neil Robertson paying close attention. He spotted it. This red will cut in, but he'll be running into another red. Can he get position? Can he get position? If that red runs past the middle, he'll be on the black, and he's on the black. Neil Robertson fearing the worst.
Bit fortunate there, but... Oh, and another mistake. He's just quickly coming around to see if it goes.
Well, surely he's not snookered himself.
He needs one more red.
And a colour.
If he can swerve it, he might be tempted, but he's got a cut into the left corner. Will he be tempted by swerving that?
Well, you can't believe. I mean, Judd couldn't believe when he rolled the black in, he was going to nudge the blue. The swerve.
I fancy he gets it.
He does get it, but he needs now the blue. He dropped one in like this before that nearly stayed out. This to go 68 points in front with 67 remaining. No problem this time, and a punch of the air. What a match this has been from both players. One of the greatest games we've ever seen in Masters history and any other tournament I've ever seen.
John, you see him shaking like a leaf on that. The pressure had got to him. How well did he perform to get over the winning line?
And there's a reaction. That's what it meant to him. Now he just needs to compose himself and roll this red in. And that will dot the I's and cross the T's. There is no way back for Neil Robertson now. Neil Robertson has been the player of the season. But Judd Trump has proven when he's on form, he can beat anybody.
And it's taken John, a performance of this
74.
magnitude to knock Neil Robertson out of his
75.
winning ways.
Fair point. Neil Robertson most of the season has been looking unbeatable, but this boy is so talented, and as I say, at the World Championship last season,
81.
okay, he lost in the semi-final to Stuart Bingham, but I just thought his all-round game had
82.
just come up a notch or two. He wasn't attacking all the time, which was probably a little bit of a weakness.
88.
Well, now just dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Will it be
89.
6 centuries in 11 frames? What a strike rate that is.
Unbelievable. And 4 centuries for Judd if he can do it. What a beautiful strike again. Can't hit the ball much
96.
better than this.
97.
As good a break as you will see to win a match.
104.
The opening red was superb, and to hold himself together after all that's happened, what a
107.
credit to this player.
Yes, if he was suffering from a slight lack of confidence coming into this tournament, he won't anymore.
111.
He is the real deal, there's no doubt about that. And as we say, it's
116.
taken this type of performance to beat Neil Robertson.
122.
His 4th century of the match. It has been
129.
absolutely sensational. And a standing ovation from everybody in the Alexander Palace for one of the greatest matches you will ever see. And one of the greatest finishes you will ever see. Judd Trump, I take my hat off to you. What a performance. Neil Robertson was good, but Judd Trump was just a little bit better. He's in the semi-final. He wins a classic, 6 frames to 5.